So how do you, without saying put on lingerie, right? Maybe not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily, but how do you convey this to your clients or your community about, hey, how do we embrace how our face looks now? How do we embrace the way that our breasts look now compared to when we were 26?
It's such a great point. And so I have two simultaneous trains of thought. And the first is, which is exactly why I started Dynamic Decades.
Okay.
Because what I would say to the situation that you mentioned is, when was the last time you were 40? You're a beginner at being 40, right? And one of the pearls of wisdom that I took away from my incredible herbal medicine program was that we are a beginner at those stages of transition. And yet we want to use the brain of what we did before. So, what I would say, and another example of that is someone that shifts careers. And whether you're 20, 30, 40, whatever the age, when you shift a career, you are learning. So it's like, oh, I used to do this, and oh, I can't get this. And it's like, when's the last time you shifted career? Well, this is my first time. Oh, okay. So maybe you could give yourself a little bit of grace and go, this is the first time I'm doing this. You're writing the script as you go. Is it always easy to do? I would argue perhaps, maybe not at times, depending on the day or the minute. So you're redefining what that looks like at 40.
Wow.
I would also say you get to redefine what sexy looks like. And I suspect that when you originally tried some of those things on, you were looking at images of what we're told is sexy and what you're supposed to look like, which I don't like that word. Don't like the word should either. And you get to redefine that for your new 40-year-old body and what that feels like for you. So we're, and I'm one of them. There are messages coming in saying, you should look like this and you need to do this. And like I said, the double chins, and here's how you do makeup when you're older, and for aging eyes and aging hair, and, wear this to be slim. And while all that can be helpful, and for people that love that and that's their passion, that's fantastic. For me, the messages start to feel really heavy. Like I just kept putting on one wool blanket after another. And what I discovered was I am new at my 60s, and I'm not going to do it that way. I'm just not going to do it that way. Now, when you blaze a new trail, there is no trail, right? So you kind of have to move things and kind of figure out what works for you and realign, which it sounds like that's exactly what you did, is you figured out for you what that made sense. So I would say is, whether you're 60, just as if, like some women that I work with and or talk with, they're moving out of a very successful career and thinking about retirement. What does that look like? Who am I if I'm not this thing that I'm known for? People know me, I'm successful. And when I shift to retirement, what does that look like? So again, beginner at doing that. And what does that look like? And frankly, that angst can show up in lack of sleep and health and, not feeling connected and feeling isolated. So it all goes back to this big circle of, how do you take a breath and really figure out what you want to focus on, which is exactly what you did beautifully. And then you figure it out. If that path isn't working, then you kind of shift path. Maybe there's a different kind of sexy that you want to bring at 40 that you didn't before. And you wouldn't know that unless you started discovering that for yourself.